The handsome man smiled broadly. A terrible, chilling smile. The type that was no real smile at all. He carefully removed his dark-brimmed hat, tilting it to let the pouring rain slip off onto the doormat. Let's say I come in. I've been battered by the rain for over an hour, and I know the cold does you no favors. Who are you? Daniel demanded once more. The man's smile melted. He tapped at the wooden doorframe, then gave Daniel a taut nod. I failed to find the humor in this, human. Why'd you call for me and then refuse me entry? I have not called for a man like you. That's where you're wrong, the refined man said. I am no man. Rather, I have taken the form of man to journey here with discretion. You know me as the Orthodonian myth, the beam which awards and takes life, the life leech which you summoned here on the promise of allowing me in. Daniel's eyes shot open. No way, he whispered. His voice was barely audible over the teapot's sharp whistles drafting in from the kitchen. You're a wyvern. The words were toneless, hollow as the wind. When the wyvern simply stared in response, Daniel scrambled aside and directed it to the living room. The creature strode in, and Daniel whipped the door shut behind it. Sorry for the trouble. I wasn't expecting you to look like that. The wyvern glared at him. Sighing, it despondently hung its jacket on the coat rack. Your city folk don't take kindly to my base form. Daniel chuckled and offered a sheepish nod. Now then, my terms, the wyvern said, rolling its shoulders. I require 5 human souls within the first month, 1 by the end of the night. You are to bring a human here by will or by force. I will devour them and absorb their soul. For each successful delivery, I'll grant you 3 more years of lifespan. A total of 15 years, Daniel said in awe. Correct, the wyvern said, shielding his ears from the piercing noise. My terms are irrefutable. If you succeed during the first month, we will discuss my terms for the second. At no point should... It suddenly whipped his gaze toward the kitchen. Turn that off, human! Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel said. He bolted down the hall, then returned minutes later with 2 cups of piping hot tea in hand. I wasn't expecting you to arrive tonight, but luckily I had some left over. The wyvern ran a hand down his handsome face, then cradled the teacup, curiously sniffing the light brown liquid. It then turned its attention over to the dresser, motioning to the black and white photo of Daniel standing beside a short-haired woman. Daniel, it said irritably, you do understand that my presence cannot be compromised. I know that. Don't worry, I'm the only one who lives here. That's my wife, Clara. The creature arched an eyebrow. You do not live with your partner? No, not anymore. She passed a long time ago. The wyvern stared at him for a while, perhaps a little too long, then curtly placed the full cup of tea on the table. I do not require heated refreshments. I require souls. Go fetch me a human, and be quick about it. Daniel's eyebrows twitched. His gaze drifted to the door as he slowly rubbed the back of his neck. Is there any way I could wait a couple? Now! The wyvern demanded. Daniel raised his palms as if to surrender, then strode to the closet to grab a coat. If you must kill them beforehand, then bring them back quickly, the wyvern instructed. The human soul won't linger long once the heart stops. Daniel bobbed his head. Giving the wyvern one last look, he chewed his inner cheek, then set off into the storm. The door burst open, and with it came the sound of rushing wind. Daniel grunted as he breathlessly dragged the body bag to the living room and plopped it down before the wyvern. A bag covered in rain and mud, treading a slick of dirt water across the dark oak floor. You did well, the creature said jubilantly. A delighted smile spread across his face as it knelt down, placing a palm on the floor. A clean getaway? As clean as it could get. Not a problem, Daniel said brightly, though he was too out of breath for his confidence to be convincing. It didn't matter. The creature salivated, practically dripped slobber over the body bag as it reached for the zipper and pulled it with enthusiasm. Then its smile melted. A cruel imitation. Blocks of cow meat, crudely strung together to resemble a human body, and at the top, a strange message. a distorted depiction of a smiley face carved into the center. The creature's face twisted in rage. It looked back to find Daniel, but felt a needle prick its skin before its eyes could meet him. Warmth flooded its bloodstream, and the world lurched sideways. With a thud, it fell flat on its back, body going limp, as everything faded to dark. A cool rush of water snapped it back to consciousness, and now it could finally see him. Daniel. "Gotta give credit. You did way better than the others," Daniel said with a laugh. "Never had a wyvern refuse my tea before. Your kind usually loves that stuff. Isn't herbal water a staple in your realm?" The wyvern thrashed, but found that it couldn't move. The chains fastened around its arms and legs didn't budge an inch. Neither did the metal seat it was on. The creature looked closer, seeing the legs of the chair were bolted to the ground. Its wide eyes wandered to the edge of the room, spotting the horned skulls that sat idly on display. "Are those—" The rest of the words caught in the wyvern's throat. "What is this?" it roared. "My basement," Daniel said plainly. He gently reached up to steady the dangling light. The creature huffed, trying to jar its arms loose again. No luck. It grunted with gritted teeth. "You've made a grave mistake here," the wyvern grumbled. "Though I must admit that I respect your aptitude for trickery. If you release me now, I will choose to spare your life." "Your shape-shifting abilities are incredible," Daniel beamed, as if he hadn't heard the beast's words at all. "I seriously can't tell the difference between you and a regular human. But that should make sense, right? It's not so much a disguise as it is you just mimicking our genetic structure. Still, that doesn't make it any less cool, of course. But it unfortunately does introduce a couple fatal flaws." Daniel pulled up a chair and sat in front of the beast. "Your kind doesn't like to draw attention. You hide. Like vultures, you feed on the dead and have others go do your heavy lifting for you. But when you try to blend in and look like us, you surrender too many protections that come with your base form. You're just as vulnerable to poking and prodding as any other animal." He held up 2 fingers. "The second flaw. You require high-energy stellar radiation to change back to your base form. You have access to this all the time on your home planet, but on ours you can only reasonably gather enough from one source. Direct exposure to the sun for, what, a couple hours at least?" Turning slightly in his chair, Daniel motioned around the windowless room. "You won't get any here." "Your myths have no record of this knowledge," the creature declared. "How do you know this?" "I know a lot. Did you know there's one more way you can revert back to your base form?" "Yeah. When you die, your skeletal structure automatically shifts back. Most of your kind isn't even aware of that fact." The wyvern's eyes slowly fell back on the display of skulls. The creature took a moment to set its jaw. "What is it you want?" "The rest of your lifespan." "A false demand," the creature muttered. "It appears I misjudged the extent of your knowledge. Wyverns cannot transfer years of their own lifespan to humans. Transfers are only compatible with fresh human souls." "I was wondering what lie you would try to scrape up to throw me off." "That is no lie, human." "And there's another," Daniel groaned. "Go ahead. Give it another try. I've been doing this for far too long to fall for a ball like that." The wyvern's mouth fell open. "Exactly how many times have—" "You remember how I said my wife Clara passed? That was 92 years ago. Before that, I had another wife. Mary. My first true love. She's been dead for 140 years now, give or take. I could go further, but you get the idea. I've not aged for a while now, my friend." The creature opened and closed its mouth, searching for more words, and finding none. It swallowed as its fingers clawed at the armrest. "Anyway," Daniel said calmly, running a hand through his hair, "what I offer you is a quick death. But please understand that I am not opposed to making it slow. If you refuse the transfer, then that only leaves one question. How many years will you make me shave off before I get the rest?"